Hello, this is Kent again, and we're going over chapter 23 of being a citizen of heaven. Now, the citizen of heaven has in their mind and heart the desire to work for God and be useful to God. To be useless to God is just a death blow to the citizen of heaven. We want to be active in works that were prepared for us to walk in before the foundations of the earth. There is no greater joy for the citizen of heaven than to be useful in the plans of God. The citizen of heaven has a firm grasp that these works neither save us nor keep us saved. They are what we do after salvation. If they were our works, we'd be bragging about it. Most definitely, I'd be bragging about it, saying, "Look what I did to get saved." They would become my bona fides, and I would compare them with somebody else's, and we decide who was the best and who had the best record. But the only bona fides I brag about is the finished work of Christ, because that's how I was saved, and that's who I talk about. If it were my works, I'd be sitting around talking about my works. But because I have nothing to do with it, it is a gift from God, I then brag about His works. Because they are the Lord's works that save me, and that I am supposed to do after I am saved, those works prepared, the ground before the cross becomes quite level. I am looking at my brothers and sisters and not what they are accomplishing on their own initiative, but how the Lord is using them. I want them to be successful. I want to see them to achieve things, because that must be God's will for their life, as well as the works He's prepared for them to walk in. There is not one that is better than the other. They're all on level ground. We need to take up the jobs the Lord has prepared for us, to do them the best of our ability and not compare them. There is no comparison in these works, because each is designed by God for us directly. And so it's very important for us to see that. We're just doing our design part when we're doing the works that have been prepared for us. We are thrilled to be part of that. Paul and James are in complete agreement on this point. It may sound like a conflict, but they were writing to two different, totally different mindset. Paul is writing to a group of people in Ephesians that still believe they could save themselves. Uh, James is speaking to those that believe once they were saved, they had to do nothing. It was a free ticket the rest of the way. Both individuals are saying that faith is the saving agent used by God, saved by grace through faith, that not of works, that no man can boast. Works come with, works come with that faith, but works of God uh, God has designed things for us to do, each of us. And once we are saved, those works are given to us to do. And I hope I'm saying this correctly. The demons have faith, but not the kind of faith that God gives as a free gift. That faith is a free gift. And like I've said before, the Spirit comes in, inspires you through that free gift of faith to believe. Once you believe, you have works to do. When you believe Jesus is the Son of God, you are saved that very moment. You will desire to work for God. It is just part of you at that point. Now, how do you know what to do? What works you're supposed to participate in? Well, prayer, study, fellowshipping, and sharing will be the soil your God prepared works will sprout in. That is the big part of our growth, is that we have a prayer life, that we have a study life, that we are fellowshipping with people, and that we will be sharing the gospel with people. When we talk about works, your works will be centered around telling someone about Christ. That is one of the most important jobs you will ever do. And each of us will have that job. Does that mean we're going to speak to 50 people a week? No, it does not. It means you're going to be sensitive to the Spirit, and you're going to be looking for those opportunities to share the gospel. It may take you a year working with someone, maybe at your job or just at the coffee shop you happen to talk to, and then all of a sudden a door opens up and you're able to share the gospel. We used to be told when I was younger, you'd go in and listen to some guy come in out of town or something and say, well, if you aren't leading someone to Christ a week, then you're a failure. No. No one's going to disqualify me, nor can they disqualify you because you aren't reaching a certain number each week. No, it is your heart and your belief of the work that the Lord wants you to do. That is what you're supposed to be doing. You are to be sharing the gospel, but not on the rate that I do, or not on the rate that someone else does. You do it on the rate that the Lord has put it on your heart, and do it with sincerity and honesty. But the key issue is do it. If you're not sharing the gospel, there is a problem. But if you are, do it on your time that the Lord has put in your heart to do it. I've had a couple of verses I'd like to go over, starting in Ephesians chapter 2, verse 8 through 10. He says, for by grace you have been saved through faith, and that not of yourselves. It is the gift of God, not as a result of works, so that no one may boast. For we are his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus, for good works, which God prepared beforehand, so that we would walk in them. Now, I use this verse first so that we can get a foundation about the meaning of the works we're supposed to be doing. And the meaning of the works we're supposed to be doing is that they come after salvation. So the faith that you get has works included in it. Paul says it right there. You are saved for these works that were prepared before the foundations of the earth. And that ought to thrill us to death, that God has had us in his mind from before the foundations of the earth, that we would be working with him and he working with us. And so that's a very important part of this aspect as we move on to James now. James chapter 2. James chapter 2, and I'm going to skip around because there's a lot of verses here, but hope you can forgive me for that one. We'll start in verse 14. What use is it, my brethren, if someone says he has faith, but he has no works? Can that faith save him? And that's a legitimate question, because Paul just clarified, once you're saved, you have works to do. And if you have nothing you're doing, then can that kind of faith save you? No, probably not. He says up above in verses 18 and 19, he says, but someone may well say, you have faith and I have works. Show me your faith without the works, and I will show you my faith by my works. You believe that God is one. You do well. The demons also believe and shudder. And so there's different kinds of faith out there. There's the faith that God gives an individual for salvation. There's the kind of faith that an individual just has. They have faith and they believe that their team's going to win a basketball game. That kind of faith does not save you. The demons have faith. They believe God is there, and it scares them to death because their faith is not the kind of faith that saves. And so the kind of faith that is a gift from God has works that will go along with it. And so it's very important for us to see that. Verse 26 in that same James 2 says, for just as the body without the spirit is dead, so also faith without works is dead. And so we're seeing that it's very important for the individual that has believed Christ to be the Son of God, that they will have works with their faith. They're going to desire to do something. That's what our people do. That's what a citizen of heaven does. Let's look at Galatians 3, 1 through 5. Galatians 3, 1 through 5. You foolish Galatians, who has bewitched you, before whose eyes Jesus Christ was publicly portrayed as crucified? This is the only thing I want to find out from you. Did you receive the Spirit by the works of the law, or by hearing with faith? Are you so foolish, having begun by the Spirit, are you now being perfected by the flesh? Did you suffer so many things in vain? If indeed it was in vain, so then does he who provides you with the Spirit and works miracles among you do it by the works of the law, or by hearing with faith? And so these are individuals that had gotten caught up into believing that the works they were doing were going to keep them saved. It is not. He very clearly says down below in verse 5, so then does he who provides you with the Spirit and works miracles among you. In other words, you have been provided works to do for the Lord. Do them. Honor the Lord with those works. Or did you do the works by the law? No, it's no longer you doing that. Don't take credit for it. I'm caught off guard on a regular basis when I see Christians taking awards for the activities that they do. I am saddened. The only example I can think of would, at this point, there are other things, but someone will be a singer, and then they will get an award for that, and they'll talk about how they've worked hard and they've done this and that. And the Lord gets very little credit for it. And the assumption in accepting the award is that it's you doing it. No, awards are not laid out in Christianity. You do not get awards for being a Christian, because that implies that one is better than the other. No, one person has a job to do. Just because someone else or a group think it's less important, it is not. It is very important, because it is a God-given work to be done, and they're doing it to the best of their ability. That's all that matters. Awards turn into mine is better than yours, and that is not how this works. It is level ground before the cross. If you have a job over here to do and a lot of people pay attention to you, fine. But the guy next door that's doing a job that no one has any respect for, if that's his God-given job to do from the Lord, then we have to have equal respect for theirs also. Don't take an award for being a Christian. It is a tragedy. Pardon me. Colossians 9 and 10. Colossians 1, 9 and 10. He says, for this reason also, since the day we heard of it, we have not ceased to pray for you and to ask that you may be filled with the knowledge of his will in all spiritual wisdom and understanding, so that you will walk in a manner worthy of the Lord, to please him in all respects, bearing fruit in every good work and increasing in the knowledge of God. Once again, that is the purpose of the church. When you go into worship, you go in, you're going to find out what this person's job is, that person's job, that person's job. And they are to know what their jobs are, so that you can pray for them, that they will be successful in the job that they have to do from God. And in so doing, they will be praying for you also. The purpose of the church is not to go in there and be entertained. The purpose of the church is not to go in there and just sit on your hands and watch somebody talk to you. The purpose of the church is for you to get to know the people around you and understand where they're at spiritually, so that you can appropriately pray for them. So each individual within that church has a job to do for the Lord. They should know it. And therefore, you know what their job is, and you're praying that they will be successful. And they, in turn, are praying for you. And people that are praying for each other and know that they are praying for each other will become closer and closer all along the way. It's of utmost importance for, number one, a Christian to know their job, and number two, for the fellowship around them to be praying for them. The worship service is totally different in Scripture than what we have in the world today. Having a good band, big screen is not it. It is knowing what's going on in your brother or sister's life and praying for their job that they're doing, and also praying for their continued growth and development. It is just a wonderful statement there. What is found in that Colossians verse 10, so that you will walk in a manner worthy of the Lord, to please him in all aspects, bearing fruit in every good work, and increasing in the knowledge of God. That's the goal. Through your works, to get to know God better and better. And then we'll jump over to Hebrews 10:25. Hebrews 10:25. He says, I'm going to start in 23. I did put that one up there. Sorry, my note said 25. Let us hold fast the confession of our hope without wavering, for he who promised is faithful. And let us consider how to stimulate one another to love and good deeds, not forsaking our own assembling together, as is the habit of some, but encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day drawing near. And so in 24 he says, let us consider how to stimulate one another to love and good deeds. That is the purpose of the church. The purpose of the church, again, is for you to know what each other's jobs are, and encourage them to do it, and do it to the best of their ability, realizing that this is on level ground, and we need to have mutual and equal respect for one another in that. Again, I thank you for your patience with me on these things. Sometimes I feel like maybe I'm saying it wrong, but I hope that the Lord can be honored through it, and that you can grow in your daily walk with the Lord, honoring him. Anyway, you all have a lovely day, and we'll talk later. Bye-bye.